Shabbat Shalom. So today we are going to speak about the Parasha Vayislach, which followed the Parasha Vayislach from last week. The life of Yaakov during his exile in Laban's place, his uncle. So if you want to have more details concerning all what is in the Parasha, which is very, very rich, you will need to go to my blog and to read what I have done, give in details. So I will give you here a summary of what is going on. And first of all, remember, it is very important that we understand that the Torah is an instruction for our life today. Paul says in Romans 12 verse 2, I beseech you, brethren, do not be conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. And the process of renewing the mind is a very long process. We start the day we understand that the Torah is the way of life we should follow in order to become conformed to the image of Yeshua, our Master. So this process begins when we start to follow Mashiach, or to walk in the same step as Mashiach, and reading and doing the Torah. So here Yaakov has received the message from Jehovah that he is allowed to go back to his father's place. So he took all his household and go on his way. And during this traveling back home, he will encounter Esau, his brother. The intention of Esau is very simple. He wants to kill Yaakov. What the Torah do not tell us is what happened between the moment Esau decided to go to Yaakov to kill him and the day he met Yaakov. We don't have any information. But if we go to the book of Yasher, we will see that Jehovah sent a malach, a messenger, called an angel, to Esau to warn him not to touch Yaakov. And this is important because Esau do not know that. Esau is just confronted with his own thoughts. His brother come with 400 men to kill him. And this is a struggle for him. So he makes his own plan to protect his own family, and he divide the troop so that he can protect them. Suffice to say for now that he put Chahel and Joseph last. And this is some details you can read in the blog. We see the importance of words. Here, this story, as I've said in Vayislach, is that Yaakov represents, from one side, Yeshua, from the other side, the 12 tribes, because out of his children, we will have 12 tribes. Some with Leah, some with Israel, some with the maids. So, these 12 tribes is the life we have. This returning to the father's land was Abraham given territory, is the land of Canaan. This is the place where the believer one day will come back. And this struggle is an end-day story scenario between Esau and Yaakov. The last battle, knowing that Jehovah will watch over it to protect his children. So Yaakov do not know. Yaakov will go and will struggle with himself. And in this night, in this very night, he will be confronted and fight with one of the messenger of Jehovah. And this is in this time that he will be changed from Yaakov to Israel. This is very important to understand because we also need to go through this process in order to become Israel. So if you remember, Yaakov spent 20 years in the place of Laban, his wicked uncle, who cheat him 10 times. So now, after 20 years, I don't know how long you are working in the Torah. For myself, I know I am not yet finished, because I have not reached 20 years. But we see the process of life changing in our life. During the many years, we struggle with ourselves, we struggle with the Torah, we struggle every single day. We see the progress we are making if we trust Jehovah. And Jacob has reached the point of transformation from Jacob to Israel. Israel, which many said, those he who rule with hell, but which can be also translated as upright with hell. So, in this night comes the change. You see, again, the situation happened during the night. The night is a place which is very important to understand. You can read that in my Parasha, Bereshit, the first Parasha we read in the year. And when Esau come, instead of attacking Yaakov, he will kiss him. And he will try to get him to go with him. But Yaakov do not move on that. Okay, details you will have in the Parasha if you read it, which I encourage you to read. Another part of this Parasha which is very important is that Yaakov asked his household to remove idols. So if you remember in the Parasha Vayislach, it is Chael who took the idols from the father and hid these idols in a tent without Yaakov knowing about it. So now Yaakov asked the household to remove the idols. It's very interesting because we, like Yaakov's wife, are sometimes carrying idols with us, and we need to remove them out of our life. I don't know which idol you may have, and I am not here for that. But we should think that this process of purification and sanctification is a process of removing from us all what take us or make hold on us from the world, and this must be removed. This is why this process is very painful sometimes. But we need to understand that we are living in this world, but we are not from this world. So we need to go through, and Chael is a picture of the Kehillah, the assembly. Jacob being a picture of Yeshua. So Chael, his wife, his bride, is a picture of the Kehillah. Chael died in the way to Canaan in Ephrata. Ephrata, which is known as Bethlehem, the house of bread. That's very, very interesting because we know this is a place where Yeshua was born. He was born in Bethlehem. And here we see Chael, foreshadows of the Kehillah dying in Ephrata, which is called Bethlehem. So the Kehillah, the true Kehillah of Yeshua, must also die in order to be joined to Yeshua. This is a process, and this process will come naturally as we walk in the Torah. This is not something we have to force, because it is Elohim who works in us both to will and to do according to his good pleasure. So we don't have to force. We are just to trust Elohim that at the right time everything will take place in our life. If we are faithful to the Torah with the best of our ability, we don't try to make it in a legalistic way. We try to do with all our heart. And we are the only one beside Elohim knowing what we want to do. So we don't have to play something, we don't have to play like in a movie, but we have to do with the best of our abilities, and everything will take place in the right moment. For Jacob it took 20 years, So don't think that for us it will take 1 month, 2 months, or 2 years. No, if it took 20 years with Jacob, who was raised in the tent of his father, who himself was raised in the Torah. So imagine that for us, coming from a pagan world, it will not take less than 20 years. 20 years is the shadows also of the 2000 years between the first and second coming of Yeshua. This is very important to understand, because this Parasha Vayislach is the last scenario before entering the promised land. So we have to understand that the Jehovah renewed the promise he did to Abraham and Isaac. He renewed to Jacob. This is sealed. You remember, Yeshua said, by 2 or 3 witnesses, things are established. And so now it's established forever. So we have to understand that, and knowing that, we will have the confidence. This is the purpose of the Torah in our life, to give us the confidence that of the promise we have in Yeshua. Yeshua being the word of Elohim who became flesh. So, in this parasha, we learned once again how to walk and to remove all idols, to be in the way Jehovah wants us to live. In the book of Yasher, if you have the opportunity to download it, it is for free. You can download it in the internet. You just look for book of Yasher and you will find it in the PDF format, and it is very, very interesting to read as a complement to the Torah. You will discover things Moshe do not write in the Torah, because it was not the purpose of the Torah to give us these details, but which confirm things we don't know from the Torah. And unfortunately, many have made a story out of the Torah because it's not written. So here, and we will find also something which I find really interesting, is that suddenly we find the genealogy of Esau. So this means that this Esau family has a very important position in the life we live, because today many people ignore who is Esau. And Esau is surrounded us. We have Esau, the natural seed, and we have Esau, the spiritual seed. The spiritual seed of Esau, compared to Jacob, is those who look and are interested in worldly things, materialism, things which are interesting to enjoy. So, that is Esau. Esau, if you remember the Parasha, when he sold his birthright for a pot of lentils, was just for that, to satisfy the desire of his belly. He was hungry, and for that he was ready to give up his birthright. And after that he was cheated by his brother, and he lost also the blessing from his brother. Today it seems to be not important, but in this time this was so important for the firstborn to have all the blessing from the Father, because these are blessings not only from the Father but from above. So here we have to learn and to understand that Yaakov has been now not reconciled, but have been now made new in a way it was intended by Elohim when he gave the promise to his mother Rivka. Because when Rivka was pregnant, Elohim himself told her, 2 nations are in your womb, and the youngest, the oldest, will serve the youngest. So the promise was already established. There was no need to cheat Esau. There was no need to go this way in order to establish it. But the mother was scared and took the action in her hands. And from out of it came this plan and trouble in the life of Yaakov. So we know Jehovah knows all things, I say, yes, I know that. But the point is that if we take action in our hands, this do not stop the plan of Elohim in our life, but it will bring us in situation which are not necessary. So, in the book of Psalm you can read, blessed are those who wait upon Jehovah. Just to wait. Just to wait. I have met people who told me, oh brother, I have a call in my life. I want to do that. What should I do? That so I should say, wait. If you have a call in your life, Jehovah will take you at the right moment. So do not force anything, because this is the greatest mistake we can make. I can tell you many stories. We know in a story which we see later, when the children of Israel will leave Mitzrayim, Egypt. We will speak about a story which is similar and which bring a lot of trouble for those who want to take action in their hands. So wait for Elohim. This means keep going to sanctify yourself by studying the Torah, by doing the Torah with the best of your ability, and having in mind to become Israel. You know, in the Brit Hadasha, falsely called the New Testament, there is another way to say it. In the Brit Hadasha, it is called to be born again, or to be born from above. This is to become from Yaakov to become Israel. This is the point. This point is, we are on the process to be born from above. The inner man is already born anew, but the carnal man will be born anew when we met Yeshua at the second coming. So we still have to wait and put our hope in this promise we have, because it is written, I think it is in the book, one of the letters of John, it is written, and we know that when Yeshua come, we will see him as he is, and we will be transformed in his likeness. Only at this time, we will be transformed in his likeness. This means we will have the full same character as Yeshua. So, my brother and sister, just keep going this way. Study the Parasha. I don't force you to believe all what I write, but I encourage you to search for yourself. And if you have any question, you contact me, and I will be pleased and happy to answer you. So.